Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
.81 goals against average, .920 save percentage. He's also 6-2 in his last 8 road starts as well. The Oilers are a great road team. I actually think it's an advantage for them that they don't have home ice. That potentially 4 of the games are on the road. We've seen 56% of the games this year in the NHL playoffs, the road team has actually won.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. A Monday night meltdown has begun. The celebration has begun in Boston, as well as the Celtics win the championship. As expected, they cut down the Nets. They win their 18th NBA championship. They pass the Los Angeles Lakers. And as we've said in the past, anytime a team from Boston wins, the only time anybody is happy is people in Boston. Other than that, right now, like New York Knicks fans are sickened. Los Angeles Laker fans are like, dear God, they just won their 18th championship. Can they win more in the future? Probably. Are they a dynasty? No. And anytime people talk about a dynasty, dynasties after teams win a championship, how many more times can they win? The Celtics are good. I don't want to take anything away from them. They're a very, 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 very good team. How would they do? I hate to do this. How they do against other NBA champion teams? I don't know. I don't think that great, to be honest. I think the NBA kind of sucked this year. The Eastern Conference blows. The Western Conference is kind of all over the place. There's some good teams in the Western Conference, but if you look at the West, teams are either really old, like the Lakers and the Warriors. They were great. LeBron was great. The Warriors were great, but the Warriors are at the end. They're done. Klay Thompson's even unfollowed the Warriors on social media. And you got the other teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder are too young. The T-Wolves aren't there yet. You know what I'm saying? There's not any really great teams in the NBA, and Boston were the best, right? They won. In hindsight, you can look back and say the Pacers actually played with them. That was the most competitive series, even though they got swept. I know Cleveland beat them. They lost a couple other games, but the Pacers were close in every game. They just sort of fell short all the time. So Boston wins the championship. Jaylen Brown wins the MVP. And listen, I thought Dallas were going to be much more competitive in this series. I was wrong. I wasn't sure Dallas were going to win the series. I was all about betting this thing to go 6 and 7 games, and it didn't get there. But I did leave Jaylen Brown on the table at plus 600. I mean, hell, he won the MVP of the last series, right, in the Eastern Conference Finals. He wins the MVP again. It was pretty wild swings, too. Remember we were crying about it all week last week. Oh, I didn't get it on Jaylen Brown. I didn't get it on Jaylen Brown at plus 600. And then I threw out last week. I said, Tatum can still win this thing, though. And then in-game tonight, Tatum was like minus 200 at one point to win the MVP. I was baffled by it, but you know what? I was going to lose money on the over of this basketball game. I did have the Celtics on the money line, parlayed with France earlier in the day today. And quite frankly, these finals just upset me, and I wanted them to be over with, so I didn't even bet. I was like, whatever. I'm glad it's going to be over. It was terrible basketball. It was hard to watch. And like I said, unless you're a Boston Celtic fan, like there was nothing really fun about this, right? You can watch games and not be a fan. Hell, I'm a Buffalo Bill fan. I still watch Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? You can watch the finals. You can watch you can watch games or, championships. They can still be good. This just wasn't. It wasn't good basketball. It's a bunch of blowouts. Everybody just bombs threes. It's a byproduct of the modern NBA. So as I stated, people are going to discuss, now how many championships can they win? They're still young, so they still have another one. Can they win a couple down the road, when it's all said and done? Maybe. They are the overwhelming favorites to repeat next year. So they're plus 300. The Boston Celtics open up as plus 300 to win the championship next year. The Denver Nuggets are the second choice at plus 750. And listen, Denver aren't a great team. They have a great player. They have a couple of, Murray's, great, and Jokic is awesome, But they're not like some sort of, the Denver Nuggets. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the T-Wolves tweak some things and add a couple of more players and figure it out. It's not easy to figure it out and get the right, the right ingredients and recipe. It took Boston a while. And one thing about Boston, too, let's give credit to Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge with Utah now, but Danny Ainge is just a winner, and everything he touches just sort of works. It's going to be tough for him in Utah just because it's Utah. But you look back on this, this Boston Celtic team, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those were Danny Ainge draft picks. Stevens deserves his recognition as well for not being the coach. And just, they all figured it out. It was a team effort. So well done. They have a great roster. Their bench players were better than the Dallas Maverick bench players, which people weren't really expecting. Luka Doncic finished with 28. I don't know how. I didn't see him hit a single shot tonight. He finished with 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Softest stats ever. Like, Luka looked like he was just going through the motions throughout the entire game tonight. And the Boston Celtics cut down the nets. The party continues, and UConn won as well. So we're in a New England owns basketball right now. So looking at next year's odds, just taking a look ahead here, the Celtics are plus 300, and obviously right now this is the longest you'll have to wait if you're going to bet these numbers. And there's no reason to really bet these numbers now, but they're sort of guidelines. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves there? Anthony Edwards, a really good young player. You figure eventually he'll get to the finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder, if they, it's all about bringing in the right pieces with the talent that you already have. It's not about like making a superstar team. It's about building a team and adding the right pieces to it. I wouldn't dismiss the Bucks. Giannis still has a run left in them. They're 10-1. The Knicks are 16-1. The Sixers are 16-1. The Clippers, hard to buy into the Clippers. The Clippers are 28-1. So the Boston Celtics are champions. And the Florida Panthers will attempt to become champions tomorrow night. The Edmonton Oilers absolutely blasted them. And I did believe coming in, put it this way, I did bet on Boston tonight. Even though I had the series is parlayed to go over 5.5, I gave up on that. I'm like, Boston are winning tonight. I parlayed it with France. But I do think that the Edmonton Oilers have a shot tomorrow. I didn't think that the Dallas Mavericks had a shot. In fact, I should have just laid it down points as well. I don't know why Celtic fans are attacking an ambulance, but there's an ambulance. I'm not going to say attacking, but giving it a hard time, we should say. I even saw the driver get out and like kind of plead with people, but they're not moving. They're not moving. So the Stanley Cup will be in the building once again tomorrow night. And there was something about, we talked about it last week when going in, whenever it's that clinching game, and it's more about just the champagnes on ice, the trophies in the building. It is a distraction. It really is. Like the everything that comes with it. Like I saw a story, and they were talking about like the Panthers. The Panthers got into Florida, from Florida into Edmonton. There was all the talk about they couldn't get out and stuff. Their families didn't go with them for Game 3. But the Panther organization flew in people from all over the place to Edmonton to be there when they won the Cup. And I was thinking, well, you guys didn't win the Cup yet. And, okay, I get it. You got to do it. But it becomes a distraction. And like I said, there's parties after and stuff. So you got to tell, your mother or whoever it is, your wife and your friends and your sister's friends or whoever it is that are, coming to celebrate this with you. Yeah, the party is at this nightclub. It's at this hotel, but only if we win. And this is what's going to happen. And, it's hard to separate that. And they're going to go through that again tomorrow, but it'll be more natural because they already went through it. But there are a lot of numbers I want to get to later as far as the Edmonton Oilers going into tomorrow night's game. There's a little bit of synergy going on for them. And who knows? The NBA Finals sucked so hard. Maybe the NHL can save us. Maybe the NHL can give us some sort of, even 6 would be nice, wouldn't it? My parlay's already blown, but I'd just like to see a prolonged Stanley Cup here and some competitive, let's see a real series. All right, let's see if Edmonton can get back in this thing. The Raging Redhead Cam Stewart's going to step up and in. Obviously, we're an abbreviated show once again, but that's the good news with the NBA Finals being done. We'll be on in our regular scheduled programming moving forward. Mo Khan in the house. We got George Kurtz throwing it down with us. This is Sports Rage. Let's roll.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Let's roll. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. They're partying in Boston. Rack up another banner for the City of Champions as the Celtics win their 18th championship. They surpassed the Los Angeles Lakers, which this is the type of, like I said, nobody likes Boston unless you're a Boston fan. Congratulations if you are a Boston fan, Bostonians in the area, etc. Besides Pat Foster, who I'm sure Pat was real popular in high school cheering for the Boston Celtics. But I digress. New York Knicks fans are sickened right now. Laker fans are disgusted right now. So there's a lot of unhappy people But the Boston Celtics were the best of an average NBA, in my opinion. And they were dominant over this Dallas Maverick team. But one thing that catches my eye, and right now I see Jason Kidd talking, and I know it's tough for a coach after they lose the finals. He seems to be taking it, really in stride. I thought he did a terrible job, as in he didn't do anything in the entire series. At some point, you need to adjust. At some point, you can say, all right, listen, this is the way we play, but it doesn't work against this team. And we can do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. But no, we just did it 5 times, and we got the same result 4 to 5 times, in which they walked the ball up the floor too much. And I know that they told, they got on Luka about it a little bit. We need to pick up the pace and stuff, but you don't ask, you tell. You're the coach of the team. Luka's not the coach of the team, and you can't win when the other team just has that many more possessions than you do. Kyrie Irving was bad as well. Let's call it out for what it is. He didn't have a good finals. Luka tonight, I see at 28 and 12. I don't know how. Seemed like he was just walking, he didn't do anything all night, but these soft stat nights. But it is what it is. The Celtics win the championship, and the NBA season comes to a merciful end. Cam Stewart in the house. Cam, listen, I do love the NBA. Some years are better than others. The same with college basketball. It goes up and down, and it sort of goes back and forth. But these finals were a hard watch. And now that this is done, we have Olympic basketball coming up. The WNBA is going on, but the Olympics are around the corner right now, and that'll be the next big, cool basketball. But these finals suck. Let's just call it out for what it is.
You're right, Morency. It was some of the worst playoffs in basketball. And I know you're very high on the NBA. Usually you like it, but we watch some of these games, blowouts, the same type of basketball. And you're right, the Dallas Mavericks had no answer. Hey, it would have been thought they'd give Boston a little bit more of a fight, even though I bet on the Celtics game. But you're absolutely correct. Conversely, I think the hockey's been a lot better than the basketball this year. And in years, we could say basketball's been better. But you're right, can't wait for it. We got Olympics, we got Olympic basketball, which is going to rock, and we got Euro soccer. That's on the card right now, too. Hell, I've been more excited about watching this college baseball than I have with the basketball, but you're absolutely correct. And Jason Kidd was a great player, but I couldn't agree with your assessment more. They did nothing in any type of situation to try to change a strategy, a flow, different type of plays, and they were exposed by the Boston Celtics. Let's call it out for what it is.
We'll show the Celtics a different look. Right? Go back. Yeah. You can't change who you are completely, but just say, all right, guys, we're going to mix things up a little bit, and we're going to do this just in the first quarter and see how Boston react to this. But they didn't, and I get it. Kid, if you're a coach, you can only do what you can with the players that you have, and he has no bench. So absolutely no bench whatsoever on the Dallas Mavericks. He had no one to lean into. He had no real corrections. But just from a strategic standpoint, they needed to go smaller. They needed to go faster. Walking the ball up the court was allowing Boston to set up. It was doomed to fail. And just watching it tonight, it was almost like watching the Harlem Globetrotters. Really
it was
like bad. The Washington, they were the generals. You know what I mean? It was just they were walking the ball up the court, and they were just sort of accepting, yeah, we're going to lose tonight, and no fight whatsoever. At least in hockey, you saw when the Edmonton Oilers were down 3-0, what did they start doing? They started punching people in the face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were like, yeah, we're losing, and okay, but I'm going to punch them in the face right now. I'm going to cross-check them in the face right now just to let them know that we're not going to quit. We're not just going to give you the cup. And Dallas just sort of accepted it. Right? I mean, I know it sounds cliche. Why do they even bother showing up? But that was why do they even bother showing up type of performances by the Mavericks tonight. No leadership. Right. Luka's their best player. He's a laid-back dude, bro. He's not – he's a laid-back guy. He's intense. He likes to yell at the referees and stuff. But, you know what I mean? He's only 25 years old, too. He's not old, this kid. So that's another thing, too. People, he's got a lot of time left. Kyrie doesn't really talk much.
Nope.
Right? Kyrie talks more off the court than he does. He's a very quiet dude, Kyrie. He's just going to play. And he didn't play well. A lot of shots that normally he hits didn't fall. And the only way that they had any hope in hell of winning, Cam, was if Luka and Kyrie both scored, if they both did 40 and 30 games all the time. And it was one of those epic, it just didn't happen. Luka put numbers up, but he got burned on the defensive end, and his stats were kind of soft. And Kyrie, quite frankly, was just bad. Let's call it out for what it is.
Yeah, especially in Boston, Gabe, like really one good game. And that's the thing. Said, it's not going to get rattled playing there. And you brought up the point a long time ago. Obviously, he's a different player when he steps into that building. And good on the Celtics. Yeah, you said it, like the city of champions. Hell, you bet the Boston two-step. We talk about these teams can't win the same night. Well, the Red Sox win and the Celtics win. Thank God no more bookies, Gabe. People are betting online. These guys would be homeless if you're a Boston sports fan. Oh, but we have the Patriots coming up, so that could be a good thing.
I guarantee you there's a pissed-off bookie in Boston in a bar right now.
Yeah, that's right. This guy on credit, right?
Again, can't believe the Red Sox won, too. How many jackasses parlayed them together tonight? Oh, yeah, Boston, and give me the Red Sox.
You know it. They do a drunken Boston parlay
guys
from
would
the
be
bar.
This thing turned into like plus 300 suddenly. They got to pay all these plus 300s out.
You're right.
You know what's crazy, though? And of course, Boston, it worked out for them. Every game, Cam, they went 4-1. The 4 nights that Boston won and the Celtics won, the Red Sox won, including tonight. And the one night they lost, Saturday, the Red Sox lost.
Isn't it amazing?
It was all correlated all the way through. So if anyone was doing the Boston two-step, you won 4 out of the 5 nights at like some nice plus money. Yep.
That doesn't work for Toronto, Gabe. I can tell you that. That's a place you might as well give your money to the guy in the street.
Well, the Red Sox are surprising people. The Celtics are not.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. So as we stated, obviously, we've got an abbreviated show here this evening. George Kurtz, Mo Connor going to step up. And a lot of stuff to get to. We've got the Euro Cup continuing. The Copa is set to begin later in the week. And the Euro today, Mbappe, obviously, who some people think is the best player in the world now. Messi's obviously got the GOAT thing going for him. But as far as modern current players are concerned, Mbappe is the kingpin. And he got smoked today in this match. And a lot of times in soccer, you'll see guys will go down and, they overreact and it wasn't that bad. Today, the goalie on France got lit up once, too. There was a ball. It was sort of like the ball. He had to make a decision. Do I come out and try to get this, or yes, I have to? And he decided to come out and get it. And Buddy just came flying in with cleats first time. Like, bang. Got him right in the chest for real. Like, it wasn't exaggerating. Got up pretty quick after. It was a yellow card. It was a pretty physical match. And then there was a cross into the box, and Mbappe went up to head it. And he missed the ball, and he headed a guy's shoulder. But, like, pretty hard. Like, he went down, and at first I didn't see him really get hit, Cam. And when he went down, even the goalie the goalie was like, yo, he's hurt for real.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys got to get someone here. And I was like, oh, damn, I hope he didn't have some sort of cardiac something. And then I was like, no, he got smoked it was basically his nose. Yeah, and then anyone that was watching, you saw, and he made a big mistake too. This is where our soccer guys don't get it. Anyone that knows, if you've got a broken nose, don't touch it. Like, don't touch your nose. And he was touching it on the field. He was freaking out, oh, my nose. And the more he touched it, you could see the more blood was coming out.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, man, like, someone's got to tell him, listen, stop touching this. Don't worry about it. We're going to handle this. So he was pretty messed up. He's in the hospital. I don't know, I think he got out of the hospital now, but he was in the hospital for a couple of hours after. I don't know if he's going to play the next match. And there was some, is he going to be out of the tournament? I don't think he's going to be out of the tournament. They'll get a mask going for him here. They can get through. They won today, barely, but they can get through, I think, and we'll see what happens. But it's far from ideal from France. We'll put it that way. And soccer's a lot more physical than people realize at this level. Like, anyone, and especially the Euro stuff, guys. Like, man, this is like, the Euro is tough soccer, man. There's a lot of contact. Yeah. Like, the Austrians and the French, these guys were beating the crap out of each other. It was yellow card city. Like,
it was.
Like,
the
Austrians,
really was. The defense, too. All their little subtleties, Gabe. Like, that's the whole thing you play soccer. Like, the little jabs and nudges and stuff, they're very good at it. Like,
you notice the Austrian guys were all pretty thick dudes, too. They're all in shape. So it's like, boom, boom. There was a lot of colliding.
Yes.
And France, or like any other championship team, they know all the tricks, Cam. So in the box and stuff, guys on France that were tugging jerseys, grabbing the arm, like they were doing all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
The guys on Austria were like fighting back, and like, I give credit to France, though. They didn't cry about it. Like, France got up every time after, and there were a couple of cheap shots on both teams. They both went after each other's ankles a couple of times with hard kicks and stuff, hard fouls. It was, like I said, the Euro, they don't play around in this Euro Cup. The Euro teams are like, it's physical soccer. We saw that today. Austria, you could argue they deserve better. France were kind of lucky to get out of it, but not good for France. Dude, like, he's going to be weary now going into the box. He can't go into the box. Not to mention, he just got a ton of money from Real Madrid, and they already told him, you're not playing in the Olympics. They're going to be in full panic mode now. This is real money they just gave him. They're going to say, no. You got a busted face. You can't, you got to chill out.
Yeah.
Imagine he takes a soccer ball to the face. His nose is
going to hurt. You said it, Morency. I learned my lesson the hard way when I got beat up in hockey. That's the first thing they tell you is don't touch it. That's the thing. Like that trainers and whatever other people will deal with that situation. You're absolutely correct. You make it worse. That little Phantom of the Opera mask that he's going to put on too, Gabe. Sure, that's one thing, but we played the game before and we played sports, right? It's a mental thing. It's a cerebral thing. You're going to be hesitant to go in the box and do anything or anybody near your face. He's going to be thinking about it all the time. And let's call it out for what it is. France is a very good team offensively, but Austria did have some chances. I still think their back end is a concern. They weren't exposed today because Austria couldn't figure it out, but that is France's weakness is the back end, and somebody else is going to have to step up for them to score. But you're right. Great games today. We saw some
France
upsets. Romania.
Yes. France are not easy to score on. They're not. They have a great goalie.
They have a good goalie.
The Conte guy is one of the best in the world. You saw in past years they haven't been dominant back end, but now like they're seriously hard to score on. That's going to be problems for other teams. That's what makes them so dangerous. You can't score on them, and eventually they will score on you.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the Cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the Cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. I talked about this earlier. You know, it was almost like Monday Night Raw or something, like WrestleMania tonight, which it was like a done deal. Like you knew there was going to be a new champion, and they were giving the belt away to the Boston Celtics. And this Pritchard dude hits that 3. Man, that guy took like 17 steps before that shot. Like the guy got a running start on it. It's like, you know, you're allowed to call traveling, right? I know it went in and you got caught up in the moment and everything. But if I was the Dallas Mavericks, they'd be like, come on, man. Like at some point you guys have to like pretend to try to like actually officiate this game. But it, you know, it is what it is. And that's the way it went down. Good for him. He has his moments. Hits not 1, but 2. You know, half-court shots like that. And I tell you what, one thing I'll give credit to Boston for, I've never seen so much confetti in my life. I think they were gonna injure people when they released that stuff. They seriously brought a lot of freaking confetti to this. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. He actually had great numbers tonight. But that's the one thing with Tatum. Tatum's a badass in games in which the Celtics are rolling. Right? He's not going to be that guy like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to score. We're down by 6. I'll give you 7 points in the last 2 minutes here. But he is that guy that'll give you 30 when we win by 30. He's the pro. If you look at Tatum's numbers in these blowout games, he's the kingpin of that. But hey, you got to be good to blow teams out, right? That's what they do. So, you know, props to these guys. Congratulations. And props to Missoula as well. He's one of these coaches that won't get credit if they win, but he gets blamed if they lose. That's like the modern NBA right now. So good for him that he's got a ring now as a head coach. Young man too, only 35 years old, and they got talent. They can win again. I'm not saying that they're a dynasty and they can't lose next year, but you look at the state of the NBA and the Celtics. They could win another championship in the next 5 years, right? They could win next year. They might make it, lose next year, win in the year after. They're going to be in the mix. The only thing is, and it is true, we see this, teams do lose hunger after they win, right? They finally, right? Like, I could see this with Tatum a bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I finally won. What are you going to say now? But the fact of the matter is, the Eastern Conference isn't that good. So there's no reason why they're not going to be the 1 seed next year in the East again, right? Like, they're going to be right back there. The Pacers are a fun young team. And, I'd say the Milwaukee Bucks could still be dangerous. The Knicks, if healthy, and we'll see if the Knicks, if they can keep everything together, right? They got to pay people. But the Knicks are 16-1 to win the championship next year, but I wouldn't get too carried away.
No,
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say the Knicks are winning the championship next year.
They'll be there though. You're right, Gabe. Milwaukee's the big question, like with what happened, and very disappointing with that team. And we'll see if they can rebound. And Boston still has that core, and they'll be back again. Question is, will they win? And you said it. That's true. Good teams do lose hunger after a while. That's what makes special teams and epic teams, like when the Patriots won all those Super Bowls and stuff, very hard to do because everyone wants to beat the champ. It takes a special team to repeat and to win multiple championships.
All right, let's see if we got our AM radio affiliate coming up here. We'll welcome them in a couple of seconds. And we got Mo Khan stepping up, and then George Kurtz. We got a jam-pack. Level 3 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Morency, the Pips, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. The Boston Celtics have won the NBA championship. And unless you're a fan of the Boston Celtics, this really wasn't a great night for anybody, unless you bet on them as well. But, you consider Los Angeles Laker fans. They're not happy to see the Boston Celtics surpass them and now have 18 championships. People in New York are never happy to see Boston succeed. And let's be real, nobody outside of Boston is ever happy to see a team from Boston succeed. But the Boston Celtics were the best team in the NBA. We got to tip our cap to them. And I don't mean this is any disrespect to the Boston Celtics, but I don't think the NBA was very good this year. There weren't really any great teams. The Eastern Conference is just sort of mediocre to begin with. And then you compound the fact of all the injuries in Eastern Conference from Giannis and, the Bucks and everybody. The Sixers are always injured, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse. But then you look at the West. The Warriors are old. The Lakers are old. The Oklahoma City Thunder, too young. The Minnesota Timberwolves just aren't right yet. The Denver Nuggets just sort of lost a little bit of hunger, weren't deep enough to go back-to-back, weren't good enough. As my point, case in point, the defending champions, it's not like we're going to be talking about this Denver Nugget team in 30 years about, man, do you remember that Denver Nugget team? It's not like we're talking about the Chicago Bears with Ditka and Buddy Ryan here or anything like that. But, hey, it is what it is, the byproduct of the association of the league that it is right now. And let's give credit to the Boston Celtics. They had a deep-ass roster. And let's give credit to Danny Ainge as well. For those of you just joining us, I brought it up earlier. It took a little while, but it was Danny Ainge that put this team together originally as far as the building blocks of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? I mean, that's been the core of the team. It took them a while to figure it out. They had to go through growing pains, but hell, so did Michael Jordan. They had to go through growing pains, and the organization went through growing pains, figuring out who are the right complementary pieces and players to play with these guys. And I think Drew Holiday is just a great complementary piece to play on any championship caliber team. And the Milwaukee Bucks wouldn't have won the championship without Drew Holiday a couple of years ago when they did. You're going to get, people are going to talk about the three ball and Middleton and Giannis and all that type of stuff. But Drew Holiday is just an all-around, winner. And he's a big reason why the Boston Celtics won. But credit to the Celtics for recognizing this is the type of guy that's going to help us. And it's not like, you just look at his numbers. It's about in practice every day. It's about how do you react off a loss in the playoffs. Somebody that's been there and done that. And dare I say, as a Buffalo Bill fan, I guess that's what they brought Von Miller in to do, but that didn't work out. But that's, right? Teams are always looking, you bring in that guy. It's like, we want to, he's won before. He's going to show us how to win. It's about how do we practice? How do we do the little things? Drew Holiday's that guy. Kristaps Porzingis was hurt for the most part here, but obviously had an impact on this basketball team. So congratulations to the Boston Celtics. It's on to the Olympics now as far as basketball is concerned. But for those of you wondering, the Boston Celtics are plus 300 favorites to repeat next year. The Denver Nuggets are plus 750. The Minnesota Timberwolves are plus 850. The Dallas Mavericks are 9-1. The Milwaukee Bucks are 10-1. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 10-1. Philadelphia 76ers 16. The Knicks are 16. The Clippers, the new look Kawhi Leonard, 28-1. The Miami Heat are 30-1. The Phoenix Suns are 30-1. The Cavs are 35-1. The Warriors are 35-1. The Lakers currently 40-1. The Pacers, you know what, as a betting man, 50-1 on the Pacers. We just saw the Pacers compete with the Boston Celtics. And the Pacers are an organization and they're going in the right direction. They have some good pieces. Halliburton's not going anywhere. Pretty nice number on the Pacers at 50-1 if you're looking to roll the dice. So our boy Mo Khan's going to step up, and then we got George Kurtz in the house, Cam Stewart kicking it with us.
You got Bryson? Gabe, did you win money on DeChambeau this week?
Yeah, I picked Bryson, but I was more concerned with my big parlays that Scotty Scheffler did not win.
Yeah.
But we're off to the Stanley Cup finals now. So the Celtics win, but we'll see if the Florida Panthers are able to win and if high school buddies, Kachuk and Tatum, will win a championship on back-to-back nights. Mo Khan steps up in the next. We have some interesting numbers as far as the Stanley Cup is concerned.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps and players, the hustlers, the people who bust them, and everybody else in between. We'll get to that U.S. Open a little bit later on with Cam Stewart. We got George Kurtz stepping up, and then we're waiting on our boy Mo Khan right now. So the Celtics win the championship tonight. Jaylen Brown wins the MVP, was plus 600 before the series began to win the MVP. So not a bad bet right there that we left on the table. We talked about it before the finals started. I said, you know, the only value MVP player here really is Jaylen Brown. And it was pretty crazy. Jason Tatum became like minus 200 to win the MVP. at one point in the game tonight, but Jaylen Brown ends up winning the MVP. So the NBA season comes to a close. The question is, will the Stanley Cup Finals come to a close tomorrow night? And let me just throw this out here right now as far as some interesting numbers are concerned. And the Oilers won the other night by 7 goals, right? They won 8-1, which sets the record for the largest margin of victory by an NHL team facing elimination in the Stanley Cup Finals. The previous record was the Toronto Maple Leafs, of all teams. They beat the Detroit Red Wings 9-3 in 1942. Incidentally, the only Stanley Cup Finals ever in which a team has come back from down 0-3. So a little bit of synergy here, maybe. Cam Stewart will step up and in after. George Kurtz will as well. We'll get into the Stanley Cup. I believe Mo Khan is ready to go. Mo, in the house with us. Mo's in the green room with all the Boston Celtic fans at SportsGrid, like Pat Foster right now. Gonna wonder, we have one diehard Celtic fan here, and he's working tonight of all nights. Tonight, you probably should have taken tonight off, right? Tonight would have been the night to take off. Poor guy. The one dude that's actually happy the Celtics won is setting Mo Khan up for us right now. I think Mo's good to go. What's going on, Mo? How you doing?
How you been, Gabe? All is well?
No, Mo, no. We got some audio issues with Mo still here. Do we have you now, Mo?
Can you hear me now, guys?
There we go, Mo. All right, Mo. You were on our list. You were almost like a Pro Bowler before.
I know.
You're starting. You're joining Tony Finn territory here now. Almost here. But how you doing, Mo?
I'm well, man. Better than Mavericks. Better than some of this European soccer that's going on. But it's been a pretty good weekend for me, though.
All right. So, what did you think tonight? It was kind of. Listen, I'm happy the NBA has come to an end here. To be honest, it was just hard to watch. It was boring. It was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
And all the way through the playoffs, it was like this. There were a couple of close games. The Pacers and Celtics was it was entertaining, sort of. But, the most part, most NBA games are just blowouts. They're not close games. One team will win. The other team will tap out. Then the next thing, the other team wins, and it sort of goes back and forth a bit. But as far as drama is concerned, I know the ratings were down, and I'm not surprised. Casual fans tune in, and it's just boring. To be honest, unless you're a Boston Celtic fan, there wasn't really a lot to enjoy about tonight's basketball game.
No, it really wasn't, Gabe. I mean, look, the matchup coming in wasn't the most appealing matchup, right? If it was Denver against Boston, that would have had a bit of intrigue with the defending champions then against the current champions in the Celtics. But the reality was, it was Luka against the Celtics. And you look at the game tonight, how it played out for Dallas. I mean, they can't really shoot the 3-point ball well. Luka only had 5 dimes in the basketball game when he's not as efficient in that role. And quite frankly, even with the Celtics being what they were, Porzingis being on the bench, the real MVP, I know people talk about Brad Stevens, but for him to bring in Drew Holiday, that really fortified the mindset for this team, Gabe, that they can win this type of matchup in this series that it was. And for Drew Holiday, I mean, he's a glue guy, Gabe. He's a glue guy that no one will talk about because it's about Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, and White. But the reality is Drew Holiday deserves a lot more credit for what he did for this team from start to finish.
Yeah, he does. And it's the one thing, the Milwaukee Bucks, they win the championship, and then they go this route, all right, we're going to bring Dame Lillard in, fine. But if you're going to do that, it doesn't mean that you get rid of Drew Holiday, right? That's the thing I don't get. He's the type of player, I've talked about that for years. They wouldn't have won without Drew Holiday. The Bucks, right? They had Giannis, they were hitting threes, but Drew Holiday's that guy, and then he brings that experience to the Boston Celtics. It took a while, and there's sort of a theme here. You look at the Denver Nuggets one; they didn't break things up, right? When Jokic and Murray didn't win, right? They sort of, all right, we have these two guys, we're going to try to add to it and figure out what the right pieces are. In this talk, in the sports debate, in the modern era in which everyone's a loser if they don't have a championship, right? It's a big thing. Well, he's never won. It takes time to win sometimes. It's not that easy to win, right? And we're going to see this with, I'll ask you, who's the team that's closest to winning now that hasn't? Like, I went over the odds. So, like, the Celtics are the favorites. The Denver Nuggets are the second choice to win, but they've won a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Are the T-Wolves ready to win?
No.
I don't think they are. Not with the roster they have now, right?
No.
They might be able to in a couple of years. Exactly. Like, they need to tweak things still. So, they're not there yet. The Dallas Mavericks, I don't, you know what I mean?
No.
I know they're going to get back here next year. Probably not. The Bucks, okay, the Bucks have won. The Oklahoma City Thunder?
Not yet.
Still too young, right?
Yeah.
The Sixers, too beat up, fraudulent. Embiid's always hurt. I can't buy into this team. Oh, they want to get Paul George. Like, that's going to help. The Knicks, like, which one of these teams that hasn't won? The Knicks, the Sixers, the Clippers, the Phoenix Suns. Hell, I threw out the freaking Pacers at 50-1 just because I think I like the direction they're going in. But
yeah,
you see where, like, you know what I mean? That's what I was saying off the top, Mo. It's kind of, we're in an average NBA era right now. There's awesome players and superstars, but there's no great teams.
There isn't great teams, Gabe, but I think there's intrigue for what could bring, right, for the future of the NBA. And I think for the New York Knicks, they're beat up. But this is going to be a big off year for the Knicks and how they operate, if they get some big players on the roster or not.
This is SportsRage. Let's roll.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a good switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Shout out to our boy Johnny Kicknuts in L.A. He says, hey, the Lakers were the in-season tournament champions. That's true. But the Celtics get to hang a bigger banner up now. The Celtics get to hang a bigger banner. What's up, Johnny? Bigger banner up. So as far as the Dallas Mavericks, because I said this earlier a bit, Mo, you know, there wasn't much Jason Kidd can do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got the players. It is what it is. He didn't have like a bench to go to. He didn't have like a lot of options. But at the same point in time, I thought that he kind of just rolled over a little bit too much. He didn't adjust anything. He didn't change anything. Like I know they talked a big game, and it was about how Jason Kidd basically explained to them, unless we play faster, we're going to get torched. But they didn't, right? They could have went smaller as well. They just did the same thing over and over and over again and expected a different result. I'm not blaming Jason Kidd for the result of this finals, but I just thought overall it was a pretty weak-ass effort from the Dallas Mavericks. And Luka put up numbers, but, like, they were soft numbers. You know what I mean? They were soft. He got burnt on a defensive end. He missed a million freaking three-point shots. It was pretty ugly, actually. Like, you know, when you look at it, it's like 28, 12, and 5. Wow. Didn't feel like it when you were watching the game, but and I don't know why the hell he played so late into the game, too, is another thing. They should have tapped out earlier. I don't know why they left their guys in as long as they did. But who's the upstart? You said the Knicks before. We're talking about the Knicks. We'll see what they do. How do they tweak this roster and add to it? I think they do have something positive going. They got to get OG back. OG's good news, bad news, though. Like, you bring OG back. Like, he does get hurt a lot. Let's just be real. He does. He did on the Raptors. He got hurt with the Knicks. That was always the thing. It's like he gets hurt. And the other thing is you got to pay him like a lot of money. I know he's a great two-way player, but he's going to he's going to get a max deal, essentially, this guy. So it'll be interesting to see how the Knicks we'll see how the Knicks play it out. But I get it. I like the Pacer team. I don't know about winning the championship, but I think 50-1 is a little bit high. But what about in the West? Which team do you like in the West? Who's the next team?
So every year, Gabe, what I do is with my NBA pass, league pass, when I watch games, I always pick a random team to watch to see how they grow, right? 2 years ago it was Sacramento, and they flourished, right? This year's OKC. So this offseason, I'm looking at teams here. Look, I don't think Utah is going to go anywhere immediately this year, but I'm watching Utah and what they could do in the next couple of years, right? Under Ryan Smith, the owner of this team, and what they're trying to build upon in Utah. That might be the dark horse of ultimate dark horses, but I'm curious to see overall, as you said before last segment, what the T-Wolves do. Because, again, you know, and we spoke about this before, Gabe, Cat did not play well as a Robin to Anthony Edwards being the Batman of that duo. And they got to figure out, is he the right piece that can be a legitimate threat as plan B if plan A does not work? So the T-Wolves, I think, are in the microscope along with the Knicks in the East on what they do to reinforce their rosters going towards October 15th when we have tip-off again for the new season. And again, keep this in mind for the Knicks, right? Tom Thibodeau, you know, I'm a Bulls fan, okay? Tom Thibodeau has a short shelf life of success, right? He runs guys hard into the court, and they get hurt, and they just kind of peter away. The Knicks are in the apex of what his success has been after a couple of years as the Knicks head coach. Can they get healthier, and can they get better quality depth that he can trust? Because for Thibodeau, he'll drive everyone into oblivion, and that's the biggest concern I have for a Knicks fan. As great as it was this past season, it could all be for naught if these guys continue to get hurt or not healthy enough for the most important part of the year, which is April, May, and June.
Yeah, it doesn't help if you play them 42 minutes a night. That's the thing,
no,
right? That's always
that's
been his problem.
Chicago, though. That's happened in Chicago with Derrick Rose, with Taj Gibson, and Jimmy Butler.
That's why I threw out Hurley to New York. I said, forget about the Lakers. Maybe in a couple of years with Thibodeau, Hurley, like he wouldn't have to leave the area. I don't think they want. I don't think like Thibodeau, like you said,
the same thing though.
Yeah, but he'll be a new, fresher. He'll be a new, fresher voice, and Hurley will end up in the NBA. You don't flirt with it and then never go back to it. So, that, like I said, I'm calling out right now. If I wanted to place a future bet, that'll be my bet. Hurley will end up being the coach of the Knicks in like 4 years, something like that, 3 years. I think he wins another championship next year. I think he can win another one. And then once he loses, that's when the taste will go away. He can't walk away from this now. You know what I mean? You win another one, you see what happens here. I doubt he's able to pull off 4 in a row, but all these new teams in college basketball, I get it. The transfer portal was seriously wild this year in college basketball. But they're all like thrown together. UConn will have some continuity still. More with Mo on the other side.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Our boy Mo Conke with his Cam Stewart will rejoin us. We got George Kurtz stepping up and in as well. All right, so so we know the Celtics have won. On to the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow. The Oilers sort of did like what the Mavericks did, right? We'll see if they can avoid this after watching this sort of lame-ass effort tonight by the Dallas Mavericks. I thought coming into tonight, I didn't think the Mavericks had a chance tonight, Mo. No. I do believe that the Edmonton Oilers have a chance tomorrow. Though hockey is different than basketball. The Oilers are in it, right? It's just, you know, it's going to, the first period is going to be critical tomorrow of this hockey game. I'm going down with the oil rig personally. I'm taking the Oilers tomorrow. I think they're going to find a way to send this thing back to Edmonton and make this thing interesting for real. What's your pick for tomorrow night?
I think the Panthers are going to be partying South Beach tomorrow night, Gabe. I think it's going to come to an end tomorrow night. Because you think about it this way, right? Empty scored how many goals on Saturday? 8, right? Bob had a bad game. I don't think Bob's going to have 2 bad games in a row in this series. And I just think that for the Florida Panthers, for where they were in game 4 that it was, they probably were thinking a little bit too far ahead. But Paul Maurice is a great tactical coach and a great motivator of men. And I think he'll get these guys back in line for what they have to be. Because, again, Gabe, I didn't think they're going to go to Edmonton and sweep them in 4 straight. I thought I'd come back to Florida and they would probably win it in 5, not 6 games. But what it'll come down to, you're absolutely right. The first period, can Edmonton get that early goal and kind of calm the waves down in Florida? If not, and the Panthers jump on them and get the first couple of goals, it's going to be lights out. And you have to wonder if this other team with Connor McDavid, who I think is like Dan Marino, if he ever gets back again, who knows, Gabe? And I think for the Oilers, they have to kind of attack and kind of play no holds barred out there and hopefully get themselves a potential win and go back to Edmonton for Game 6.
No, I don't. I'm not going to be the doom and gloom guy as far as McDavid and them. He's only 27, right? You know, he's not
guarantee,
old.
Gabe. But there's no guarantee, Gabe.
There's no guarantees
Marino,
for
right?
anybody. There's no guarantees for anybody. But I'm not going to do the doom and gloom as far as the future is concerned. But as far as the first period, they're not just 1 goal or 2 goals. Like, you know, listen, we know in hockey the a 2-goal lead is almost the kiss of death, actually, somehow. But they really need to, like, just roll in there, and they need to roll them, right? Like, they need to, you know, break the will of the Panthers, take the crowd out of it, don't stop. I'm not saying an 8-1 rout, but just play a perfect road game and just sort of, you know, dominate. it's going to be tough for them. It's, we always see this in sports where teams, I mean, look at the Buffalo Bills. We're going back a ways, but the Bills scored like, 1 million points on the Raiders in the conference championship game and then couldn't score on the Giants after, right? It's like the biggest bet in football, Mo. College football, I swear, NFL football, but especially, you see it anytime a team scores like 50 or more or 60 or more. The Dodgers the other night scored 15 runs. They scored like 2 runs the next 2 games after. So it is kind of scary. But you know what? I just think the Oilers, we've seen all year how streaky they can be. And if they get hot at the right time, they can play themselves back in this thing. They really can. I think they have a better chance than the Mavericks did, which I didn't think they did have much of a chance. So I do believe they got a shot, but Mo disagrees. George Kurtz and Cam will give us their picks after on the other side. Let's move on to the Euro. France wins today. It was a pretty interesting game, actually, for a 1-0 match. Sort of like a lot like hockey. Austria has a big-time opportunity, doesn't bury it, and then like a minute later, France scores. Mbappe just boots it into the box. It's an own goal. It goes in. France ends up surviving after. Mbappe ends up getting his nose broken pretty good. How many matches do you think he's going to be out for now?
Look, they got the big one coming up on Friday, I believe, or Saturday, whatever it is. I think, look, Mbappe, for what he brings, he's still looking for his first European Cup goal in his time playing the Euro Cup, right? He's never done that.
And he missed on a breakaway today, a chance that he never misses.
Absolutely. My concern for France, and France has always been notorious slow starts out of the gates for World Cups and Euro Cups in years past, right? They don't play well. They always peak at the most important part of the knockout rounds. So I think, right now the concern might be how N'Golo Kanté, the holding midfielder, was able to clean up their mess. And I think the back line for France got exposed by Austria, who had a really good game plan to Ralph Ragnick and trying to, attack the wings on flanks and kind of throw balls into the box and hope for a deflection or two, which didn't work out for them. But I think when they get deeper and deeper into this tournament against better teams that are much more skilled, that's where France will be tested. For Didier Deschamps, he may not have Mbappe available for game number 2, but that's okay because they do have the firepower, Gabe, with Griezmann and others on that front line that can come up and step up and play well. I think France will be okay, but again, they've always been slow out of the gates, and this is a typical French start for them at the World Cup and now in the European Cup now.
Look at the Netherlands on Friday. They need to bury their chances. That was what was uncharacteristic about them today. Listen, it's the first match. You know what I mean? It's going to get going. And Austria are actually pretty good. There's some people that thought Austria were a little bit of a sleeper in this tournament. But the 1-0 was a little bit gratuitous. And, Austria had some success. You're right. Conte was like great coming back and cleaning up a lot of stuff for them. But they really didn't have any scoring opportunities. They had that one. And after that, there really wasn't much after that. There was a couple of corner kicks. I thought France did a good job tightening things up. But they had a couple of opportunities, France, where, it wasn't just the breakaway. There was another run with Mbappe. He got a really weak kickoff.
Yeah.
Griezmann got a weak kickoff another time in the box. Just, uncharacteristic of them. But you're right. It's going to be a hell of a lot tougher against the Netherlands, though, have their own issues. Tomorrow we got Turkey and Georgia and Portugal and the Czech Republic. I do think Turkey are going to beat Georgia. Turkey are minus 143. And you got Portugal's minus 210 favorites over the Czech Republic. Portugal are a trendy team coming into this tournament, Mo, but I'd be careful laying minus 210 here. I'm going to warn bettors about this because I know everyone's going to have Portugal tomorrow, but I'm not ready. I'm not sure they're just going to roll them. I'm not saying they won't win, but I don't think it's going to be easy for them.
It's tricky. It's tricky because you look at their lineup, and I told you last week, the French, Dutch, and Portuguese are the 3 teams I'm watching out for the European Cup. And I think the Portuguese coming into this tournament have less questions because of the bounce they have from goalkeeper out. But the question that'll come up, though, is how many minutes does Ronaldo play? And the Czech Republic play a really good formation of defense and hope to catch on the counter for potential 1 or 2 opportunities going the other way. So I think for Bruno Fernandes, for this back line, for the spine of this formation, you got to be wary about how the Czechs are going to kind of pack it in a little bit here and park the bus more or less and try to play for the counter. But the guy to watch out for the Portuguese is Diogo Jota. He's a guy that was been bagged up the last couple of years, but has always had a nose for the net when it comes to aerial balls into the box, even into the short 6-yard box as well. So Jota might be a guy to watch out for at this Euro Cup that could get himself a couple key goals for the Portuguese as we move along in this tournament.
And then Wednesday, we have Croatia, Albania, Germany, Hungary, Scotland, Switzerland. Then you got Slovenia, Serbia, Denmark, and England's a big match later in the week. And you want to talk about big-time stuff. Thursday and Friday, where it starts to get, you got it's Denmark and England. Yeah, you got Denmark and England, Spain and Italy. And Spain were my pre-tournament prediction to win.
Yeah, they were.
At plus 800. I'm buying in a little bit to the Germans, too. I know there's only been a match here, but you know what? I usually always bet on France, and I'm not buying into them either. Like you said, slow start here. You know what I mean? Mbappe just got smashed in the face. I don't know what his will is going to be like to go in the box moving forward here, Mo. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with France. We'll see.
He'll be all right.
We'll see.
Yeah, no. They'll be there, Gabe. They'll be there for the Final Four.
All right, we'll see next week. We'll catch up. Thanks, Mo.
Take care, man.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
To be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. I said earlier off the top of the show, I said, this championship sucks. Boston wins. Nobody likes Boston unless you're a Boston fan. You're there. And I'm hearing from all kinds of different fan bases, specifically Knicks fans and Laker fans. And as I say, the Lakers aren't going to be happy. Magic Johnson, I hate the Celtics, officially have more championships than us now. Got George Kurtz setting up here. It's kind of a little chaotic tonight. The George Kurtz steps up and wearing the Seinfeld puffy shirt. What's going on, George? How you doing?
It's been a night. It's been a night as far as behind the scenes. It's been interesting here.
Yeah, it feels that way. I'm cruising along here. Everyone's all stressed. Everyone comes on. It's like problems in the background here. And Kurt's.
Let's just say I have to make a phone call immediately after this to make sure we're okay. But I think we are. But I do have to. I will need to make a phone call.
All right. So
okay,
we've all been in that situation. You got to make a phone call.
Yep.
What's up with the I got to be honest, when I saw you getting ready, I said, how come Kurtz is dressed up like Colonel Sanders tonight? But you're going with the traditional fare?
I told you about this. This is the barong I had to wear to my niece's wedding. That I bought this, which is not cheap, by the way. And then her mother said, oh, no, he can't wear that. And I couldn't return it. Well, I'm wearing it somewhere. It's being worn somewhere, and it's part of the rotation for SportsGrid. It's the only place I can wear it. So it's called the barong.
He looks like a magician, Gabe. He's a magician or a guy who doesn't act with a bear. Like, who the hell is this guy? Man, and it's white, too. The best thing, it's white.
This thing is very white. It is very white, Cam.
And so are you.
Yes. I'm red. You're white. Morencey's more brown than us. Gabe, that shirt. Oh, my God, George, that's amazing. I'm like, what's this guy doing? It's a chef. It looks like a chef's coat, actually. I used to work in a kitchen. It could also be.
Like it does top like it now. It does when you see just the top.
Yeah. Just the
looks
top.
Looks like a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like a lot of different things. That's a great answer.
I'm getting my money's worth out of this shirt. Okay.
You sure are. Yeah.
So are we. Thank you. All right.
I'm here to help.
It just, of all nights, after I look up, I'm like, what the hell's going on here now? This guy's I see this guy sitting in with the Seinfeld puffy shirt. I'm like, it's like the episode of Seinfeld. I can't get away from it now. It's distracting me. I'm like Brian Gumble. So what's the deal with this shirt anyway? So he couldn't stop asking about it. But George Kurtz, Cam Stewart in the house with us right now. Mo Khan was just with us. We were just talking about the Euro Cup, and I got a good video from the Euro. Here's our best of X today. And listen, I've gotten smashed at games before. We've all been at games and not really remember everything. But this guy's taking it to a new level. So check this out. This guy's at the Euro Cup.
Yeah, just walking out. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm shivering. You ain't joking on.
The stadium's empty. He passed out in the stadium. It's 4 in the morning. The stadium's empty.
They didn't find him.
Look at him shaking, Cam. Look how beaten down he is. He's like, listen to him.
That's scary.
Just listen to him. Just woke up. Run it one more time.
4 o'clock in the morning. I'm shivering. You ain't joking on.
I'm surprised the lights are still on.
He's got the stage. How come nobody found this guy? How do you sleep in a stadium? That's amazing. How do you not find? Like, there's no security saying there's a guy sleeping there?
He went to the English match. He got hammered at the game when he woke up in an empty stadium at 4 in the morning.
That is awesome. Oh, that's fantastic.
You can just see he's hurting. Wow. He's like 4 in the morning. He's shaking.
Yeah, he's like panicking. Yeah, it's a panic move. Yeah.
Wonder about where's security at in the stadium. Where did he pass out?
That's what I said. Like, how do you not see a man when you're cleaning up, like, beverage cups and stuff that there's a Brit passed out in the seat? Like, you can't stay in a stadium, right? Like, how does that happen? It's the best.
You can. You don't need a hotel.
Yeah.
In Germany, they let you sleep in the stadium. You don't need to get a hotel room. You just get wasted at the game. You pass out in your seat.
Just save €400. Amazing.
Sleep on the pitch. I'd have to wonder if I was head of security. I'd be like, yeah, listen, like, how did this guy, like, stay in our stadium till 4 in the morning? But, I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so Mo Khan was with us. He says he thinks the Florida Panthers are going to win tomorrow. I say they don't. Cam, Edmonton Oilers or the Panthers tomorrow?
Well, hey, you said no sweep with the Edmonton. You stuck with them. I thought Florida was going to sweep. So basketball right, hockey wrong, but I'm going with Florida. They can't fool around. Every time you leave the door open and there's one team with the talent, the Edmonton Oilers, if you make it 3-2, start thinking about this game. Been in that situation before, it's 3-2, start gripping the sticks. Florida, you can't let these guys linger. That's why you don't take games off. Boston got it done tonight in basketball. But give me the Cats to win in 5 on their home ice. If they lose this game, we have truly a series.
And let's hope for a series. We didn't really have one in the NBA. Kurtz, Captain Chalk in the house. Are you on Cam's side with the Panthers winning tomorrow?
I am. I wanted to go 6 or 7. I have tickets for 6 and 7. I don't have any tickets for 5. So I hope Edmonton can win tomorrow, but I think Florida takes care of business. I think they better. Because I think if it does, if Edmonton wins tomorrow, I think we'll go in 7. Because I don't know if Florida's going to beat Edmonton in Edmonton. That place was rocking the other night. So I think Florida takes care of business. I think it's good for Bobrovsky to get a little extra rest here, the extra day. Not to mention he only played half a game here. I think Florida does get it done tomorrow.
See his odds.
I'm going to try to.
He went from literally a lock. Him and Barkov are almost pick'ems. Like Barkov is like plus 110 and Bobrovsky's minus 110 now after the last game. Big difference.
There are some people that want to make an argument that Connor McDavid should win, even if they don't win, because of all the assists.
No, that's a bad take.
I'm not part of that crew, but they're plus 750 right now. Bobrovsky's plus 105. Kurtz, what do you think?
I think if we get another game like Game 4, let's just say if it goes everything wins 7-2 tomorrow, then maybe it can be somebody else. But it's Bobrovsky's award to lose here because if they win, it's going to be because of him. He's got another W. They won all these games. Great GAA. Still Bobrovsky here, but it's getting a little closer. He can't have another clunker. He can't win 7-6.
I'm hoping to see another. Let's get another game back in Edmonton. Let's get a series going here and get some pressure on. I want to see the Panthers fans and family fly back and forth too.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogeys, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. So it was last week I brought up, I said, you know, the only time a team ever came back from an 0-3 deficit in the Stanley Cup Finals were the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1942. And no, it happened. And the only reason I kind of knew, but I knew all about that because, like I said, just randomly, I'm like, yeah, my grandfather scored the winning goal against the Red Wings in the semifinals, but the Red Wings ended up beating the Montreal Canadiens. So I knew about that series and stuff like that. And it's the only time ever that a team's come back. So this is pretty interesting. And like I said, I'm going to bank on history repeating itself again. I brought it up the other night a lot. There hasn't been a sweep in a Stanley Cup final since 1998, and that record will keep on going. It's pretty crazy, actually. It's been that long. So the Oilers won 8-1. 8-1 sets the record for the largest margin of victory by an NHL team facing elimination in the Stanley Cup final. The previous record, the Toronto Maple Leafs 9-3 win over the Detroit Red Wings in the 1942 Stanley Cup final. So here we go again. Right back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is the other one that is interesting. The Oilers 3 times this year had a 3-game losing streak. How did they respond after the 3-game losing streak? November 24th to December 12th, they went 8-0. Then they had a 3-game losing streak, and then they went 16-0. February 26th to March 5th, they had a 3-game losing streak. Then they responded, they went 5-0. Can they do it one more time, Cam? I say yes. We're going 7. This series. Tomorrow night, the Oilers are winning tomorrow night. You're both
wrong. They might win tomorrow night. Yeah, you're wrong.
So is Mo Khan. Everybody is.
Everybody's wrong. I got Florida in 6. So actually, you know what? The exact series price we did too. So I got to do some math, and I really don't want to do this, but I might have to actually put a little on Edmonton. As sad as that
George,
I'm thinking of doing the same thing. Do I hedge here?
So you guys aren't so confident then suddenly?
No, I'm not so confident. No, the numbers are out. No, because Edmonton's real good.
This series should be 2-2.
It
should be 2-2. Edmonton should have won game 1. This has not been a blowout series here, so no. I'm not confident. I just think at home, I think Florida knows
if not for like a 5-minute run, if not for a 5-minute run in like game 3, this could also be 2-2. Like it really is unbelievable. Like it hasn't. They just had that the early second period of game 3.
You have to admit, though,
when suddenly it was 4-1
for the most part with their forechecking and stuff. But they're not a flawless hockey team. And the thing is, if Bobrovsky,
but momentum can shift in series sometimes.
Oh, big time. Hockey's the one sport where you can lose it quick.
Florida hit a couple of early posts in game 4 that could have changed that whole game. If Verhaeghe missed that 2-on-1 by shooting it back into Skinner, he puts that home. The score is tied at 2. Maybe things are different here, but we can say that every game here. But do I feel confident? No, not one little bit.
More confident in Boston tonight.
I am confident. Give me the Oilers. I just wish I was getting a better number. They're not really. You could argue. Listen, if you like the Panthers tomorrow, it's a fair price, minus 135. Right now, I'm only getting plus 115 with the Oilers. Tomorrow's just one of these games. Connor McDavid needs to do it. He needs to step up. He needs to score early. He needs to be one of these. All right, if he could score early, it'll fire everyone else up. They'll be like, all right, guys, this is real. We're doing this. And stuff will start to happen. I know it sounds cliche. And not just score the first goal. Like I said earlier, they need to they need to really kick the crap out of the Panthers early somehow again. So it's not one of these back and forth type of games. But I think, like I said, I legitimately think they can do this tomorrow. I'm not putting, it's not the 5-star, lock of the century or anything like that, but I do think the Oilers can pull this off tomorrow, and I think they will. Plus 115. Give me the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow.
What about the total? Over.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet the under. It's an elimination game.
Right? Yes.
It's an elimination game. So, and there's going to be goals.
7, game 4 went 9. I'm going over.
Yeah, I agree. And if Florida does have a lead, Edmonton, there'll be no time, down a couple, they'll pull them. Who knows when they're going to pull them.
It's early. 6 minutes, 5 minutes left.
Yeah, you can't bet the under.
That's actually my favorite play tomorrow is the over.
Or Florida's down. They'll have to pull it away.
It's either way.
Just saying.
Florida's down. It's probably not going to be 2-1.
Oil slick over here.
4-2.
Rusty loves oil.
Other than that, you're on your own later.
Yeah.